All right, I'm going to introduce the candidates and then give them a chance to make an opening statement. Pat Eford is on the left up there. Mr. Ray Rothrock in the center. Dan Wilcox on the right. Candidates have 3 minutes each to make an opening statement. And Ms. Eford, would you begin for us?
Yes. I want to thank the Chamber for having this for our residents. As all of you know, most of you know, I've lived in Carolina Beach for over 50 years. I have owned and operated 4 successful businesses, and now active in real estate. As you know, all of you know, I have served on town council for 30 years. I have always put the interest and the needs of people first. I also served as Mayor Pro Tem for 14 of those years. These years I have had the necessary experience, knowledge, and people skills to provide our town with the best direction. I am running for mayor for the first time because I believe I am the only town leader who has demonstrated that I can build trust, respect, and teamwork among all on council. I have often been the deciding vote on crucial issues. Over the years, I've had relationships with the federal, state, and county government and been instrumental in securing funds for beach renourishment and inland dredging. I have never believed in raising taxes and have always worked to find ways to reduce the town costs so we do not have to increase taxes. I am the one candidate totally committed to protecting our single-family districts and have voted consistently to do so. And during my term as mayor, I plan to begin and implement much-needed improvements in infrastructure to improve our water quality and our roads. And as I have said many times, putting the residents of Carolina Beach first. If elected mayor, I promise to work to ensure that all our council members do the same. Thank you.
Mr. Rothrock.
Thank you very much. First, I want to thank the directors and staff of the Playground and Chamber of Commerce, along with the Government and Community Affairs Committee for bringing this about. Thank you to all of you for coming, and just looking around gives me a visual display of your interest in the government for our town of Carolina Beach. Certainly express my appreciation to all the media coverage that we have, Charter Cable for taking the rebroadcasting, for you being here and being moderating this. Thank you very much. I grew up in Curie Beach, or between Curie Beach and Monkey Junction and back to Curie Beach. When I moved back here in 1985, really wanted to move to Curie Beach, but property being more expensive there than it is in Carolina Beach, I ended up in Carolina Beach. I'm glad that I did and that I have enjoyed the past 26 years I've been here. I enjoyed the 3 terms that I served as mayor between 1997 and 2003, and I look forward to being your mayor again. I think that I have the leadership that this council, that this town needs to bring a team together to do what needs to be done to get this town back on the right road. I look forward to being your mayor, working hard with the council members, the town manager, Curie Beach, Wrightsville Beach, Wilmington, New Hampshire County, state and federal governments, as I did in the past, to bring the best possible happiness to the town of Carolina Beach. I could go on and tell you other things, but I think that you probably have seen them or will see them. There's a web page, Ray Rothrock for Mayor. The Island Gazette has put together answers to questions to all of us. They have printed that. That's available. Star News has done the same thing. And if anybody has any questions at any time, they certainly can ask me that. If you'd like to meet with me sometime with a group of people at your house or somewhere, certainly be happy to do that. But I look forward to working for the benefit of our town of Carolina Beach for the next few years. Thank you.
Mr. Wilcox.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Wilcox, and I'm running for mayor of Carolina Beach. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank the Chamber and Marriott for giving us this opportunity to talk about town issues, which is what we're here for. My goal for mayor is pretty straightforward. First and foremost, I want to maintain the positive improvements and the forward movement we've enjoyed for the last 4 years. It's not been a perfect process. There's always hurdles, and there's always more to do. But there's no question we're on the right track. So I'd like to keep us pointing in that direction. I'd like to continue our success as a family destination, continue our quality of life, and continue to look for opportunities that make this a better place to live. I'd also like to continue my work on county commissions and boards I'm serving on. I serve on the Forest Waterway and Beach Commission for over 3 years. It's a commission made up of representatives from the Corps of Engineers, the county, state representatives, and representatives from neighboring towns, all with the common goal of working towards solutions for our beach nourishment and inlet dredging. I've been at the forefront of those concerns. I'm not just now promising to do that. I also serve on the Tourism Development Advisory Board, and we recently completed a comprehensive overhaul of the entire marketing plan and branding of all the beach towns in Wilmington, and that's going to be substantial for us. I'd also like to continue my service on the other less high-profile committees I serve on, because I believe the record shows that my hands-on involvement on the boards commission I work on have helped make Carolina Beach a better place. Until 4 years ago, when we started the Boardwalk Makeover Group, like most other residents I've talked to, I never took a friend or a family member to the boardwalk of the CBD. That's a sad and sobering statement, but true. Not just for me, but for many residents that I've talked to. More than anything, I don't want to see our town fall back into that state it was 4 years ago, where businesses were empty and struggling, families had pretty much written us off, and the only news coverage we got was bad. In the last 4 years, in the worst economic times most of us have ever seen, both our town and our businesses have prospered. We've seen families come back in droves, and we've once again become the place everybody wants to be, including folks that said they'd never come back. And we can add to that for the last 4 years, since the time I can remember, the 22 years I've lived here, we've received nothing but positive press, both national and regional. So not only has our community regained its place as a family destination, we've regained our community pride and our recognition. So my reason for running for mayor is really pretty simple. I don't want us to fall backward. It took too much work to get us back on top and be the place we knew we could be. Thank you.
Okay, I'll remind you, turn your cell phones off. I also make a quick statement. Mr. Rothrock talked about the Star News. Our Carolina Beach election preview runs in tomorrow's Star News along with the grids, where we ask the candidates questions and list their answers. That's for mayor and town council. That's written by Shannon Bowen, our reporter who's here tonight. We'll go on to move along to the program. Mr. Rothrock, this question will come to you first. In your opinion, what is the biggest issue facing Carolina Beach, and how do you plan to address it?
Well, I think the biggest concern that I'm hearing from everyone is the debt of $4.3 million and what the Star Beach wants to do about it. I think if the town of Carolina Beach can put the project together and not cause you taxpayers to have to come up with $4.3 million, then that would be all right. But I don't think that's going to happen because of the economy. Hindsight's 20/20, but you know that should have been worked on since December of 2009 when we purchased the project. It's been very little done so. So the debt is certainly the most talked about, one of the most talked about things I hear out there. The other thing that I hear and well aware of is Carolina Beach Nourishment Program ends in 2014. We need to make sure that continues for at least another 50 years. The next thing is, since our business industry is tourism, we need the beach, we need the inlet, we need money for the inlet dredging, and we also need to look at infrastructure. We need to make sure that we have the infrastructure should this economy turn around and we can do what needs to be done as far as stability. Taxes, no one wants to pay more taxes. There's a reevaluation in process. Soon after the 1st of January, we're going to have some good news and some bad news. I think a lot of folks are going to have bad news because of the reevaluation, and taxes are going to be more for them. As I have said many times, I will not vote for a tax increase. We will have to do something within the town budget to not have a tax increase.
Mr. Wilcox, what's the biggest issue facing Carolina Beach? How do you plan to address it?
I'm trying to stick to that question. I think there's no question people come here both to visit and to live for the quality of life that we have. That quality of life is centered around the water and our beaches. So I think if we're addressing the most important issues we have, it's definitely beach renourishment and our inlet dredging. It contributes greatly to our economy and our quality of life. And those are both issues that I've been working on with the commission I'm on for the last 4 years almost 4 years since I was appointed. It's a difficult, complex problem. You know, the thing that's happened with the federal government and the funds disappearing is started slow and happened pretty quickly. So we've had to look at every option we can. I can tell you we've been working on those diligently for the last 3+ years. And of course they were working on some of it before I got there. But we are making strides. It's difficult when you have $35 million sitting in the account we can spend on beach renourishment, but we can't spend it because the federal government, because of federal rules. That's a problem. So we're trying to have some of those rules changed. We're also trying to take about 5 different avenues to make sure that we have beach renourishment for the years to come. Recently on the inlet dredging, I was the one that went to all the county and all the local municipalities and reached out to them to find our emergency funding. And we were able to do that. And that's only going to get us by this next 1 year to dredging attempts, and we're going to have to look for something else. So that same commission I'm on was tasked by the county commissioners to come up with a sustainable long-term funding plan for our inlet dredging, which is what we're working on.
And Ms. Eford, same question. What's the biggest issue facing Carolina Beach? How do you plan to address it?
I think the biggest issue facing us now is our infrastructure, our quality of water, and finding other resources for water. Also, the dredging of the inlet, we have until 2014 to, that's the last money we'll be receiving. I think we ought to work closely with the federal government, the state and the county to help us along with our share to fund these projects. We need to implement the plan soon to take care of our pier project. I voted for the pier project. I thought it would be a wonderful thing for Carolina Beach. I think it would be an educational, not only for recreation. And I think now that we should make some decisions. Soon we have some proposals will be bringing to us from our town attorney, Steve Collins. We will review those and then make some decisions. We will be involved next week talking to some folks about whether or not we will be receiving any funds. I doubt it. So I think if we do not, we should make decisions soon about what we should do. I would like personally to see a park that would accommodate our residents, our tourists, and some ample parking. We have a lot of issues that we need to do. I think we should continue to support the tourism. We all know that that's what brings in our tax dollars. We need to still promote the things that happen on the boardwalk, around our lake, and other areas of town. We have to find monies to do this. It does come from the tourism fund, but we are going to need some of that funds to do other improvements in the town. I personally would much rather see us come together with some types of funding that we will be able to do all these projects without raising taxes. We all know that it's bad economic times for businesses, our towns, even our personal lives. Sometimes we have to make cuts that are not so good for what we think. But we do have to do this And I believe in not raising taxes. I haven't done it for 6 years, but I vote on the board. But to do this, we are going to have to make some cuts. I don't exactly know what is going to be in the budget next year, but I think we should start early and try to cut those things before budget time gets here, so we'll all be aware of what we can do and do it efficiently and not cause the town any problems. Our citizens deserve the very best of what we can afford to give them. We need our good water,
Thank you.
our sound government.
And I should have mentioned, I might have forgotten to say, candidates have 2 minutes to respond to each of the questions. I don't have an air horn or anything, but I'll probably.
I'm the first one to stop.
Mr. Wilcox, this question comes to you first. Tourism is our #1 industry. The county has a heads on beds tax, TDA, used for lifeguards, fireworks, movies, music, events, etc. Do you disagree, and do you agree or disagree, and why, with the current appropriations of TDA funds?
Well, I couldn't agree more with the current appropriation of TDA funds. Our room occupancy tax funds that we receive back to spend on tourism-related items is exactly what we're spending on. All the events that we're doing, whether it's family night or movies at the lake or fireworks and music or Island Day, or of course we don't use that for Island Day, but Christmas by the Sea, all types of things that are tourist-related are exactly what those funds are intended to be used for. And I can tell you that it's a process that repays itself, because we just had in July, which is the end of the reporting cycle for the ROT funds, the largest increase in ROT ever. Not only for all the beach towns, but for the county, for Wilmington and beach towns as a whole, which is saying something in these bad economic times. We are spending that money exactly where it needs to be spent, and we're seeing the results of it.
Ms. Eford, heads on beds tax is used for lifeguards, fireworks, movies, events, music. Do you agree or disagree, and why, with the current appropriations of the Tourism Development Authority funds?
I believe we are using the tourism fund in the right places. We get occupancy tax. It goes for what we call entertainment for tourists as well as our residents. We have many events each year, and it's getting bigger and bigger. The town has contributed much money to the chamber for the events they put on. The town has contributed money to the Island of Lights. We contribute money to the senior citizens, which I am one of. We contribute money to some of the functions around the lake. We pay for the cleanup, and sometimes we are not always paid the right fees for that, I don't think, the town. But I think the tourism fund has really enhanced all the entertainment asset for tourism in our town.
And Mr. Rothrock, to you. Heads on beds tax for the Tourism Development Authority is used for lifeguards, fireworks, movies, music, events, etc. Do you agree or disagree with the current appropriations?
Excuse me. Our room occupancy tax, the first 3 cents of it goes toward beach renourishment, and that's where the county has accumulated $35 million about that. And then a portion of that goes to the Patriot Coast Convention and Business Bureau for their operation. The second 3 cents of it is divided between the TDA and the community where it is played, i.e. Carroll Beach, whatever is left in Carroll Beach. Comes back to Carroll Beach to be used for tourism. I think in most cases that it is used for our tourism, for our industry, for the tourism. I've heard some people say that $250,000 was taken out of that fund to pay the interest only on the Aquarium Field project. Is that tourism? I also heard that another $200,000 was taken out of that, and that's not a bottomless pit. That fund is not bottomless. To redo the diet plan, do away with the diet plan, yes, that needs to go, but we cannot continue to take money out of the tourism fund because it will not always be there. Overall, I think for the tourism, the events,
dredging. Do you have a long-term solution for this ongoing issue?
I don't have a long term, I wish I did. I think it's a responsibility of the federal government and the state and the county, along with us, to help fund this. As we all know, it is a big part of the monies that we collect through taxes. It is not only for recreation. Our marina is such a great area of Carolina Beach, and we've done much to improve that in the past few years. I believe that we would just have to keep pounding these people to make them realize how important it is for our area to have these assets. We all know that without the beach, people probably would not buy property here or even come to vacation. Also with the boating people. And of course, our fishing business is a great industry here, and I think it's been wonderful through all these years, and I certainly think that we need to continue. They need to help us, and we need to fight for this.
Mr. Rothrock, what's your approach to financing future beach renourishment and inlet dredging?
The 6 years that I've served as mayor, I've been on the Port Waterway Beach Commission for those 6 years. I work very hard with the local, county, state, federal government to get money for the beach renourishment and the inlet dredging. It's very unfortunate that some years ago, the dredging money was earmarked, and as all of you know, the federal didn't win the earmarks. So the federal money for the dredging went away. We, Carolina Beach, need to meet with other people at the state and federal level, get other communities, just like Carolina Beach, involved, and get the law changed, the state and or federal law, whatever needs to be changed, where we can use that $35 million for inlet dredging. And when we dredge that inlet, pump that sand on the beach to renourish the beach. The laws are written to where we cannot pump the sand out of the inlet and put it on the beach. That needs to be changed. And we need to move forward and step up and move in that direction to make that happen. Then we would not have the problem we face today with the inlet drying up and the beach not being nourished. And I know we need the inlet because I was in the charter boat business from 1985 until 95 and then operated ever since then. So I know the need for the inlet.
And Mr. Wilcox, same question. What's your approach to financing future beach renourishment and inlet dredging?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm already on that commission working towards our future inlet and beach, our beach renourishment and our future inlet dredging, and we've been working diligently on that. It's not something we just started. I don't think anyone could have foreseen the rate of downturn and support from the feds, but it happened pretty quickly and left a lot of people standing, including people that have been working on these issues for years. I don't think counting on them is the issue. I think we've been working with them. We've reached out to them. We're meeting with them in D.C. We're meeting with them in Raleigh. We've got 5 or 6 different initiatives we're working on. One of them is contributing authority, like Mr. Rothrock mentions, where we would have the ability to take some of our money or the money that's in the fund and actually either contribute or pay for some of that dredging. The federal rules, the way they were set up, we're fine when the feds are also providing us money and the rules make sense. But now they've stopped providing the money, those rules haven't been changed. So they've handcuffed us from taking care of our own beaches. The only people left to do it are the state and the county and our beach communities. So we're looking at, and we just started our first session last month, and we're having our first another meeting in a week or two, to start identifying potential sources of revenue that would not put this burden solely on the residents. It would put part of the burden on the folks that come here and use our inlet and use our beaches. So it's not an easy answer. No one has the answer. I'm telling you, as I sit here, nobody has this answer. But it's one we need to continue to work on, and it's extremely important. We are the first beach coming up on all the beach projects. Our first beach to come up and end our 50-year beach project. So this is uncharted territory for everyone we've talked to in the state and federal government. They don't even know what to do. So, it's a challenge.
The next question comes to Mr. Rothrock first. What's your positioning on the widening and improvement of Dow Road? Do you think this will adversely affect Carolina Beach's business district?
There's been some work, a lot of talk about the widening, what to do about Dow Road. When I was mayor in 1997, we sat down and discussed what to do, how to do it. As I heard the council member say earlier, the state of North Carolina decides what they're going to do with it and when they're going to do it. Carolina Beach and Curie Beach doesn't have much to say about what goes on there. I think if it were to be widened, that it would certainly take away from downtown businesses to Carolina Beach. I think we certainly need bike paths in both directions, well off the highway, safe bike paths, so that people can ride from one end of the island to the other and do it safely. Perhaps there could be some initial widening, for example, from Lake Park Boulevard to Harbor Avenue, to see what that might do, and then go on from there. But we, the town, I just don't, from what North Carolina Department of Transportation does, I just don't see that happening anytime soon. I would really like us to work together with them, Curie Beach, to see if we can't get bike paths over there to accommodate bicycles. So,
Mr. Wilcox, your position on widening and improving Dow Road, will it adversely impact your business?
Well, first of all, widening Dow Road is a state project. It's not something that's funded by our direct local taxes, something that's funded by our state taxes. If the state wants to put that as a priority project at some point in time, to them the priority project might be 5 or 10 or 15 years. But if they want to do that, I'm good with it. Why would we not want to improve that roadway? Improving that roadway by itself is not going to detract from Lake Park Boulevard. The reason people would leave Lake Park Boulevard to go to that road would be if Lake Park were overcrowded. Why would you want people unnecessarily sit where there's a place to relieve a traffic flow and not have that available? I think the bigger issue is that we have to look into the future 5 or 10 or more years to determine what our traffic needs are going to be. And whether we're talking about the 3 or the 4 lane, that's been an issue that's been resolved, but whether we're talking about that, I think we're kind of wasting our time if we're not looking many years in the future, because our community keeps being built out. We're less than 70% built out. More families with cars come here every year. Same with Curie Beach. Same across from the ferry, and all of our activities. They draw more cars here every year. So it's not so much the question what's going to happen this year or next year, but we really need to be asking ourselves what's going to happen 5 and 10 years from now. Because if we don't start planning these projects, especially projects the state will pay for, if they don't do it, they're not going to give us any money back. So I'm all for keeping it in the queue and trying to lobby to make them do it, not leaving it up to them, but actually push for it. Because we're not going to get tax dollars back if they don't do that project. If we do it, it's an improvement right now.
And Ms. Eford, what's your position on widening and improving Dow Road? Will it adversely affect our business?
I think it would affect the business district, and the most complaints I get is the fact that we do not have any bike trails, bike lanes, and I think that we need to work more closely with that on Dow Road. And I know that the traffic problem on our Dyke Road plan has led a lot of people to use Dow Road, which has been heavily trafficked this past summer and summer before last. But as we say, DOT is going to do what they want to do, is what their plan is. So I think in the future we may want that done, but right now I don't think it would be a good idea.
Okay, the next question comes to Mr. Wilcox first. Many of the candidates have said that an issue they see as important is to strengthen and create programs for senior citizens and the youth of Carolina Beach. However, there's no talk of programs for improving the quality of life for the roughly 60% of residents who are in between. What do you propose to do for the taxpayers who are between 18 and 64 years old?
Well, I mean, I propose to continue doing what I've been doing for the last 4 years. Simply trying to look at every item I can look at that will improve the quality of life, to make this a better place to want not to live, but also a better place for people to want to visit. As I said, families of all ages, 8 to 80, I like to say, down at the boardwalk, come down there and they all enjoy that space at the same time. That's something that wasn't available to people years ago. Our whole business community has improved. We've got activities and events coming to this island in droves. 4 years ago, we couldn't get anybody to hold an event here. And now we have to run them through Arts and Activities Committee, and we have to look at them and try and figure out how to tweak them. We have an increased request for events every year. These are all things that create quality of life here on the beach, beyond the beach. These events and activities give not only our locals something to do, but they give the tourists something to do. And I will continue to promote those type of programs.
Ms. Eford, what would you do for residents, for taxpayers between 18 and 64 years old?
I think we had a great program for recreation for our young people, and up to 18, they still play baseball and basketball and enjoy what we have to offer. Also our skateboard. We have our parks. We have a lot of recreation around town, at the lake, the boardwalk. I think that we are doing an excellent job of doing this. And as far as the people over 64, that's me. I enjoy going to the senior citizens and visiting with those people. And I think the senior group over there, we have supported them in many ways. We have just put a roof on their building for them to enjoy the activities that they are doing there. And I would like not to see us raise taxes to any of these groups. It's going to be very hard in the next budget year because we do need some things that we did not get this year in the budget. But I will try to find ways and costs to reduce the costs so we will not have to raise taxes for any of these groups.
And Mr. Rothrock, what would you do for taxpayers between 18 and 64 years old?
I think that Carolina Beach has something for all ages, whether you be under 18 or over 64, and in between. So I would ask those that feel like they might be left out between the ages of 18 and 64 is to join in and come and let us know what we need to do. I really don't think that they're left out very well. Thanks.
Okay. The next one comes to Ms. Eford first. What additional committees, local, county, state, federal, and volunteer community organizations do you currently serve on or have you served on the last 4 years? Committees and volunteer community organizations.
Well, I've been on the council for the last 4 years. I've attended every meeting, every workshop. I attend senior citizens meetings. Other than that, I think that keeps me pretty busy along with my real estate business.
Mr. Rothrock, committees and volunteer community organizations you currently serve on or have in the last 4 years?
Well, it was 2003, December, when I finished being mayor, I tried to retire. It hasn't worked. I'm still working. As far as volunteer, I've worked a number of years, and I think within the last 4 years was with the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program for the county. Spearheaded the one that was, when I got into it at the senior center, got it into the rec center, and it unfortunately went away for a year but came back, so that's a really good worthwhile program for the citizens in the southern part of County. I'm currently a member of the Carolina Beach Indian Association. Other than that, it's not serving on council. I haven't been serving on the city.
All right. And Mr. Wilcox, committees and volunteer community organizations?
Don't have a list, so I might forget one, but I serve on Forest Waterway and Beach Commission. Like I said, that's they handle our inlet and our beach nursery. I serve on both the county board, Tourism Development Authority, which handles all our marketing for our beach beach communities. Serve on Curie Beach Water and Sewer Committee. I serve as a town liaison to our marketing advisory committee in our town. I founded the Boardwalk Makeover Group, and each of the different events underneath that, Christmas by the Sea, Family Night, and bingo, and other events that we hold, came from that initiative. And I regularly attend other county and Raleigh meetings, NC Byways, NC Water Congress meetings, anything to do with our important issues in our town. But I also take time to periodically, at least every month, I attend 1, 2, or 3 local of our volunteer committees, whether it's a harbor committee meeting, whether it's the police advisory committee meeting, or arts and activities. I take time to go to each of our volunteer committees and meet with them and listen to what's going on.
Simon, I have 30 seconds, please.
Yes.
I forgot, very important, since last December 13th, I've been the host commander for American Post 129 here on Pleasure Island, American Post 129. A lot of hard work there. We support the veterans and the community.
Very good. Okay, Mr. Rothrock, you get the next question first. What should the town do with the property purchased for the proposed NC Aquarium Pier and Ocean to Sound Access Park?
Well, I'm not the town attorney, and I didn't get paid $248,000 year before last. And I haven't gotten an offer for someone to purchase it. However, I have mailed a package to some people that might be interested in purchasing that property. I did that last Wednesday. Have not heard back from them yet. I would hope that we would hear something. I would hope that the project might go forward in some way, but we need to get out of that $4.3 million debt. The manager has already told us that we have to pay the principal and interest on that debt next year, $430,000. It means a 3.3% increase in property taxes. We don't need that. That other property needs to be sold. I think all of our beach accesses, most all of them have handicap access. That was too much money spent for too small a piece of property for it to benefit the town. We should not have spent that money. And I ask where did that money come from?
Mr. Wilcox, what should the town do with the property purchased for the NC Aquarium Pier and Ocean to Sound Access Park?
Well, I think we should do exactly what we're doing. Council set a plan in place. I've been asked, along with the mayor and another representative who serves on the nonprofit board, to meet with our representatives. In 2 days, a couple of days, we'll be meeting with Senator Goolsbee, Representative McComas, Susie Hamilton, to discuss the project with them. Following that, the next week, matter of fact, we'll be there tomorrow morning. Following that, we're meeting with the director of the aquariums. We're meeting with the director of Diener, their general counsels, and a couple other folks in Raleigh to do a number of things. One, to qualify exactly where they stand on the pier project, because we've never had anything definitive on that. And if it turns out that pier project does not look feasible in some reasonable period of time, to work with them to come up with some grant funding. We already have some grant funding. We have about $1.2 million of grant funding in place. However, a little over $800,000 of that is being held back because there's no reason to do those improvements if they don't do the piers. So we would like to impress upon them that if the pier is not coming, we would like to end up with a parking area and a water access park. We would like that to be funded by the grants that we now know are available and already allocated for. And then we can look at taking the property south of that, and dividing it, and selling it to private concerns. That's one option that's available to us, and that is an option that would, at least as we know it, would not cost the taxpayers any money. It would be funded by revenues from sales or by grants. I will say that the pier, we have to remember that it's a large number. It's $3.6 million for the pier project, not 4.3. 4.3 includes a parking lot. But it's an investment. It's not a wasteful spending item. It's an investment. It's an asset. So we have valuable property there that can be offset to solve this problem, and that's what we're working on. We have interested parties. We were contacted by a party last week that's interested in buying the property. We don't know where that's going to go, but there are options available, and we're going to exercise those options in the best interest of citizens.
Ms. Eford, what should the town do with the property for the proposed NC Aquarium Pier and the Ocean to Sound Access Park?
I would still like to see the pier project go through. As yet, we have had no commitment from the state. They told us to first get the property, furnish the property, and they would furnish the pier. So far, this has not been done. In the event that we do not have any income from the state, I think that we should consider all of our options. One is to sell or put our motels that we own out for other bid. Also to make a park and parking. We were getting a offer supposedly for the property from our town attorney, which we will be reviewing. And I understand there are other offers that may be coming in. So we'll have to consider all those things, and if before it will be a tax burden on the people of Carolina Beach, I'll do whatever is the best way to handle the property.
And Mr. Wilcox, the next question comes to you first. What are your thoughts on Carolina Beach's budget? What areas would you cut and which areas would you increase?
Well, always a good question for debate, I guess, or forum. I know it's difficult for the citizens sitting on the outside looking in to realize how hard we work on the budget process every year. It's not something we take lightly. We have more meetings this year than I think probably any previous councils had to address the budget issue in these difficult times. We can't. I think just like people who have their home budgets, where your cell bill goes up and your power bill goes up every year, and if you're going to buy a new vehicle, that costs more this year than 2 years ago. Every one of the services and fees you pay for increase every year. Our town's no different. Once we fix our rating and valuation, and it might get reevaluated for another 8 years, the cost increases you see in our budget are largely and mostly associated to fees and services that we pay for every year. They go up. We don't have control of those. Our power bills, our water bills, not our water bills, but our power bills, all our services, our engineering services, when we buy new forklifts, when we buy new vehicles, when we buy any of those new things, they increase in cost every year. And our costs increase every year. Infrastructure is aging, it costs more to take care of it. So you can't keep cutting employees, every time our costs go up. So it's a difficult struggle to maintain something. But right now, I think we cut through attrition and other means. For the last several years, I think just before I came in office, there was like 115 employees. We're down to about 91 employees. I think we're to a point where if we cut any more employees, we're going to start cutting services to the citizens that they don't want to see cut. So all we can continue to do is to work towards making good decisions. It's not a perfect process. We have to work through these things as they come. And I think we work hard every year doing that, and there's always something to be learned, always something to be used the following year.
Ms. Eford, your thoughts on Carolina Beach's budget? What would you cut? What might you increase?
I think that this year's budget was the hardest that I have ever had to work on in my years of service to Carolina Beach. It has been very hard because we have had to cut some things that I really think that the departments needed and would have helped run their departments more efficiently. We worked very, very hard to keep from raising taxes, which I hope I will never have to vote for raising taxes. I haven't in 6 years. We need to look at our employees We need to go to them for help in making decisions. I believe that they can help cut their budgets to help us. We have less employees now than we did last year, and those people who have retired or have left, we have not replaced them. Those people are doubling up, some of them doing double duty. And I think now that we probably work the hardest on this budget, and I think it is a good budget, and I think it's working.
And Mr. Rothrock, Carolina Beach's budget, what was your cut? What might you think?
Cut the attorney. Why do we pay him $248,000 in 1 year? Why have we averaged paying him $192,000 in the last 3 years? Why have we already, since the 1st of July, paid him about $35,000? I think I figured it up 1 year that if he worked 40 hours a week, I believe he'd have to work 50 hours a week at a rate of $150 an hour in order to make that kind of money. Sometimes other stuff is internal. Another thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but I think is common knowledge and perhaps common sense as well. And there's no lot of talk about it. If the town of Carolina Beach Police Department is saving the town so much money by driving vehicles home, why don't we have all the town employees drive all the vehicles home and save us more money? Makes sense to me. I think it ought to stop that. And then I got a call 2 weeks ago from a gentleman in Clinton up there in business. And at the Hardee's in Clinton, there was a Carolina Beach Police Department F-250 pickup truck at the Hardee's in Clinton. That's a waste of money. That needs to be cut. It's not me as the mayor, it is the council, or the majority of the council that the manager works for. But you can rest assured that I, as the mayor, will lead that council and hopefully get the majority to tell that manager, you're going to have to tighten the belt. And since we've identified some problems, here's the solution. Stop driving vehicles home. Stop letting everybody in town call the attorney. Anybody in town wants to call the attorney, they call him. The attorney starts his clock. We shouldn't be doing that. That would be a good savings.
See, for this question comes to you first. The citizens of Carolina Beach want to know that those in charge of establishing and enforcing town laws and regulations are law-abiding citizens themselves. The question is, do you have a police record in any jurisdiction for anything other than traffic offenses that would show up in a background check on you? If so, please provide the details, and please be specific enough not to elude the question or mislead voters.
One speeding ticket.
Rock. Do you have a police record in any jurisdiction for anything other than traffic offenses that would show up in a background check?
I got a speeding ticket too. I'm going to tell you my background, and if you want to check it, you can certainly do so. I was in the charter boat business and stopped at the marina one day, Carolina Beach Town Marina. I'll never forget it, August 13, 1986. And another boat owner didn't like where I parked unload my vehicle. And he said something about it, and it turned into him, instead of calling me an SOB, he used the words instead of the letters SOB. He was close enough to him and I hit him. Today, if someone seriously called me an SOB, I'd probably hit him again.
From applause, for one thing, it'll take too much time.
I paid for that. That person and I are now friends and have been for some time, but he doesn't call me SOB, jokingly or seriously.
Mr. Wilcox.
Wait a minute, I have another one. I have a long
We got time.
December 4th, 2004, after watching the Christmas parade here in Carolina Beach and going to a Christmas party, I drank too much wine, and on the way home I was stopped and I was given DWI. I kept it very low profile. I may have been able to beat that, but the publicity to me and to the town of Carolina Beach. I didn't want any part of it. So I paid my fine. I drove around for a year with the brother I was on the car. I don't drink and drive. I was a fast learner. I don't do it anymore. Those are the two.
Mr. Wilcox, do you have a police record in any jurisdiction for anything other than traffic offenses that would show up in a background check?
Well, I've never checked my police record like that. I suspect many people in this room. I can assure you I've never been convicted of anything. Anybody can accuse you of things, and we've certainly seen that recently. But no, I've never been convicted of anything except a zoning violation, which I've worked diligently to resolve.
Okay, the next question comes from Mr. Rothrock first. What sets you apart from your opponents? What initiatives would you bring to the table as mayor?
I think 6 years of being there, certainly the experience that I received while I was there, the accomplishments of the town, knowing how to get things done, working as a team member, experience is a very good source, and I think that my 6 years as mayor, I can go on and on and on, but I think, again, if folks look at the webpage and what's printed in the newspapers, they'll see it. There's no need for me to sit here and list part of it, and I'll be able to list all of it. I invite you to read that. But, I think my experience 6 years as mayor and all the committees that I've worked on certainly set me apart.
Mr. Wilcox, what sets you apart from your opponents? What initiatives would you bring to the table?
Well, I think what sets me apart is I roll up my sleeves and get it done. I don't just go to the meetings. I get out in the community. I contribute to the community. I volunteer for every event that comes to this town. Anyone calls me, whether it's the senior center, the health center, the fire department, I'm always there to help out. I think that is synonymous with a good leader. You have to get out and build initiative. You have to build a consensus, and you have to build an environment where people want to work for their town. A lot of what happens in this town is volunteer. We have volunteers who put thousands and thousands of man hours into our improvements in our town committees. And I think I bring leadership skills, but more importantly, hands-on leadership skills. I'm not afraid to get in and do the work.
And Ms. Heford, what sets you apart from your opponents? What initiatives would you bring to the table as mayor?
I think I bring to the table many accomplishments that were made during my terms on the council. I was one of the leaders to stop the county from using Carolina Beach as a landfill in the first 70 days after I was elected in 1975. I secured the ambulance service along with a group of dedicated council people and the medical center, which we had done. I worked with obtaining land from the federal government for our sewage treatment plant, which also services Curie Beach and Fort Fisher. We bought land for the new town hall and had with no debt, leaving no debt. We built a new police department. We built a new fire department. We bought a new fire truck. We built a new recreational center. Those are some of the things that I am so proud of in the years that I served. I bring leadership, experience, dedication, and loyalty to the people of Carolina Beach, which I have served faithfully and truthfully through all these years. I'm dedicated and committed to serving the Carolina Beach residents first and always.
Thank you. We're going to move on to the questions that members of the audience have submitted. We got right many of them. Mr. Wilcox, this first one will come to you. This first one will come to you first. We'll go to all of y'all. How important is working with the other beach towns in making sure the 3% of TDA monies, Tourism Development Authority monies, going to the Wilmington Convention Center is returned to the Beach Renourishment Fund? 3% now going to the Convention Center, how important it is for the towns to work together.
Well, first of all, I think it's extremely important for the three beach towns to work together. I've been one of the well, the person to reach out to the other beach communities and set meetings to talk about important issues. I recently, well, a year and a half ago, established a resolution with the other 3 beach towns to send to the county commission and the PDA to change the way we were being advertised, to place an emphasis on who we are as a town and the historical nature of our town, which was getting lost in the message that they were using when they were advertising Wilmington. I think that we, by ourselves, we don't have much of a voice, but when we join together as 3 beach towns, we seem to be able to get things done. And I think we need to continue to work at that. The percentages being spent on the convention center is something that is going to be difficult. I think to change until that is paid off. I don't call it a fine. At that point in time, I assume that money will come back to Belleville for beach nourishment. I think it's extremely important to keep the beach towns working together.
Zeeford, how important is working with other beach towns to make sure that 3% of TDA money going to the convention center is returned to the beach renourished?
Well, I think working with Curie Beach, Whitesville Beach, and our surrounding beaches need to pull together, and hopefully that we can get some of those monies back that are due to us to help with our tourism and other things.
Mr. Rothrock, same question. How important is it to work with the other beach towns, get the TDA money now going to the convention center, return to beach renourished?
The beach communities, along with the county, city, Wilmington, certainly all need to work together. As I mentioned earlier, and others have too, the amount of money that's in the beach renourishment fund is $35 million, but hands are tied as to how we can use it. The 3 cents that the city of Wilmington is getting toward the convention center, I think if we had a dollar amount, it would be peanuts compared to the $35 million. Once the convention is paid for, then I think that we should certainly look at distributing that throughout the county on an equitable basis. But I think that we need to work toward everybody in the county getting the beach renourishment, not only for Carolina Beach, but Curie Beach and Whitesville Beach, and Bayshore Island, which is the county. So, that 3 cents that goes to them is not a lot. Yeah, we'd like to have it, but maybe right now it's being used better for the convention center. Well, they bring tourists here. Those tourists spend money. Those tourists stay in Wilmington for conventions, but they come to the beaches. So they spend money when they come down here. We don't want to cut the hand off that brings tourism to us. So we need the convention center.
Next question comes to Ms. Eford first. The writer notes that 2 of you, Ms. Eford and Mr. Wilcox, were on the council when the vote was taken to buy the pier property. I'm going to ask all 3 of you, if you had it to do again today and you know everything you know today, would you vote to buy that pier property? Would you have voted back then to buy that pier property, knowing what you know now? Lisa, to you first.
Yes, I would. We had a strong commitment from the state representative that represented us, that represented the project. We were almost assured that we would be getting money from the state. I would.
Mr. Rothrock.
No, I would have not. No, I would not have. No.
Mr. Wilcox.
With the information I had available at the time, I'd make the same decision.
About what you know today, if that's what they're asking.
We don't have
Hindsight is 20/20.
We don't have a final answer. We don't have a final answer today. But if I knew today the state wasn't going to bring the pier, I wouldn't vote to buy the property. That would be simple answer.
Next question comes from Mr. Rothrock first. Our central business district has undergone a major makeover in which businesses can thrive. If you're elected, what's your vision for the boardwalk, Mr. Rothrock?
I would like to see another major motel at the north end of the boardwalk. I think that would certainly continue to improve the boardwalk between the 2 motels. One was set here and one was north end. If you go around to a number of places, whether it be Virginia Beach, Myrtle Beach, and beaches in Florida, we see that. Daytona Beach is the boardwalk area. Usually each area is a major hotel, and everything in between is a tourist. So,
Mr. Wilcox, your vision for the boardwalk.
Well, I mean, I think everybody would like to see another hotel at the Hilton site and create a nice balance between two good hotel facilities, hopefully with convention areas. But I think what has made the difference is what we've done to what we have. Basically, we took something that councils and administrations before had turned their back on, and made it, cleaned it up, painted it, made it safe, made it friendly, created activities, created a place where people want to be, where tourists want to come. I think it's not complicated, but it is a lot of work. And we're out there every year doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's volunteers that are doing this, and it's people leading those volunteers that make this stuff happen. It just doesn't happen because of the hotel.
Ms. Eford, your vision for the boardwalk.
I would certainly like to see a hotel where the Hilton was supposed to go on the north end of the beach. It certainly looks good to walk around the boardwalk today and see so many businesses open. Because for the past few years, until 3 or 4 years ago, almost every other building was empty. It really looks better than it's ever looked before, and I am proud to see the people there. People are surprised when they come down. I know the people who went from us go back and say, oh, the boardwalk is so great. There's so many new businesses. And it's a good thing, and it does have our tourism business.
And Mr. Wilcox, this next question comes to you first. Beach renourishment is a top priority. What would you do differently to see that the process works to keep sand on the beach? The questioner says there's no sand left on the beach from last year's renourishment due to a lack of town supervision and making contractors adhere to proper procedures.
Well, the bottom line is the town's not in control of those projects. Those are state operated projects. They do the profiles, they determine where the sand's going to go, they do the studies, and they monitor them. We can call them when we have a storm event, and we can solicit for some emergency funding. But those projects are not run by our town. And all we can do is as I said, we are at the end of the 50-year cycle. We are the first beach community to be in this position. Shortly after this, within several years, there's going to be as many as 15 beach communities who will be facing the same problem. So we're not the only ones scrambling, trying to figure out what to do with beach renourishment when the federal funds have gone away. Last beach renourishment we had, they cut the project short because of the funding. So they had a project figured out, they had a profile of what they were going to do, and they went ahead and did beach renourishment, but they just told the contractor, well, we don't have this much money, we only have this much money, so just do this much beach renourishment. Therein lies the importance of the contributing authority that we've been seeking for the last several years. Had we had that, we could have gone to that contractor and said, okay, the federal funds are only going to beach renourish up to X street. Here's another $1 million or $2 million to continue the project, to do a full project. We don't have the authority to do that. The federal government will not let us do it. The federal government will not let us pay somebody to do that on our own. So what we've been pursuing for the last couple of years is not only get the contributing authority changed, but also we're pursuing 3 different permitting processes. We're looking at, and we've already done the feasibility studies, and we're well into the process for the beach communities securing their own permits to do the beach. So not a federally funded project, not something we're within the guidelines of the project, of the federal guidelines. So, but this stuff takes a long time. It's not easy to get these laws changed. A lot of legislation, representatives are starting to see that these rules that were in place when the federal government was funding us, and they were no longer working anymore because that component has been taken away. So I think we just have to keep working at the best solutions. We're up against the timeline here. We met 3 weeks ago, and we have people from the board, we have people from the state, and we're looking at every possible option to fund reimbursement.
Ms. Eford, to you, what would you do differently? The writer says there's no sand left on the beach from last year's reimbursement due to a lack of town supervision. They make the contractors adhere to proper procedures.
I don't think it was a lack of town supervision, as we did not have any say-so over what the government does. In our meeting here several weeks ago with the Corps of Engineers and with the Southern Point people, they tried to explain to us that we really have no say-so. So I believe we're just going to have to keep working with the federal government and get them to understand that we need to have a big part and a say-so in our reimbursement plan.
And Mr. Rothrock, to you, what would you do differently? There's no sand left on the beach from last year's reimbursement due to lack of town supervision.
Well, as the two previous candidates said, it's not the lack of the town supervision that allowed that to come about. I think the town of Carolina Beach needs to continue to work diligently, or perhaps more diligently than they have, to get the people in Washington a chance to employ. We don't need those folks sitting in Washington telling us how we cannot spend $35 million for beach rebuild. It's that simple. They need to change the law.
The last question I have is about your outside interest. And the writer seems to know a lot about what each of the three of you guys do outside of being mayor. But basically it boils down to what active interest do you have outside of being mayor of Carolina Beach, whether it's in your occupation or other pursuits, and how are each of you going to do all those things and still be a full-time mayor? And Ms. Eford, we'll start with you.
Well, I've spent a lot of time and a lot of hours working with the town on many, many projects. When I first was elected to the council, I had 3 young daughters, and I was in the motel business. I found time then to work with the town, attend meetings, work on every project, be involved with Carolina Beach PTA, be involved with the Carolina Beach Women's Club. So I think I've divided my time pretty well in being able to work for the town. And now that I'm older and not working as much as I have been working, I will have more time to be mayor.
Mr. Rothrock, busy man. How are you going to do all that and still be a full-time mayor?
Well, I'm a workaholic. I am the post commander here at the American Legion Post. It's not a full-time job unless you make it a full-time job, but a full-time is needed to get our American Legion Post turned around and be able to keep the property instead of losing it. And that we sat there 2 months last year in the peak hurricane season without any insurance on the property. Our insurance is due next month. Knock on wood, we had money to pay for that insurance for 1 year without having financing to pay finance fees. So it's been turned around, and it certainly supports the veterans of the community. In July, there was an election at the post. There's a new first vice commander, and he knows that he's going to have more to do after I'm elected mayor. There's another new officer there, a second vice commander, who knows that he's going to have more to do. I'm a workaholic, but I know that if I'm elected mayor, I have a job to do, and I'll do it. And those guys at the post will have to chip in and do more. They're ready to do it.
Mr. Wilcox, you have outside interests. What are some of your outside interests, and how would you balance those with your duties as mayor?
Well, in between trying to make a living and volunteering for the town, I work a lot of hours. I tell you that anyone can come to a couple of council meetings a month and balance it. That's not a problem. But that's never been my philosophy. And serving on council, I don't think there's any question I already put in more hours than most mayors would. I already take responsibility for a lot of things that would continue to be my responsibility if I were mayor. So I'm pretty much looking at the same schedule for the next 2 years, which is fairly relentless. But I'm able to make that.
All right, we'll move on to closing remarks. We'll start in reverse order this time. We'll ask Mr. Wilcox, then Rothrock, and Eford to go, and you have 3 minutes apiece on these.
I'm going to keep it short. I appreciate everyone coming out tonight, and I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the moderation. I think it's real simple, like I said in my opening statement. I've worked hard for this town. The last 8 years I've served, 3 years on the Planning and Zoning Board, served on numerous land use plan committees, subcommittees, every place I could get involved that I thought would make a difference. In the last 4 years, I've just poured my heart into it. I've worked, climbed up on top of the senior center roof and helped them with that. I've helped numerous other nonprofits. I donate my equipment, sometimes my workers, certainly myself, extra materials I have. I just, like everyone here, I'm sure I love this town, and I'll continue to work hard for it. What I don't want to see is all the hard work that not only myself, hundreds of volunteers have put into it over the last 4 years especially. I don't want to see that go away. I want to see us continue this effort to be the town that we've become. And we are again. One that people are proud of. One that people are proud to bring their family and their kids down to the boardwalk and walk around, grab an ice cream, and the whole works. Some people have said that, well, you concentrate a lot of efforts on the boardwalk, and that's true. But that's because that was the black hole of our community. It was where we were sitting. And I think when you heal that, which we have, half the buildings at that boardwalk were empty when we started the boardwalk makeover, and the other half were open very seasonally. Only a couple open through the year. All those buildings are full. All those buildings are cleaned up. All those buildings are improved. Same with the business district. This just isn't about the boardwalk. Anytime you create more people, the immense amount of people are coming here. Like I said, we just got the reporting for the July ROT funds. It's the biggest increase we have ever seen in ROT funds. That's not a mistake for us. When those people come to town, whether they're coming for an event, whether they're coming down to the boardwalk, they're going to stop and buy a pack of cigarettes. They're going to stop and get gas. Some of them are going to go have dinner. They're going to stop at the hardware store and get some bait for the next day. They're going to stop at all these different stores in our highway business district. It's a matter of putting the feet on the ground and making the people want to come. And I think there's no question in my mind we've done that. And there's no question in my mind if we let that progress, we're going to be right back to where we were, and it won't take long.
Mr. Rothrock.
So I thank you and the chamber and all of you for coming out tonight. I encourage you to talk to your friends and neighbors and get them to go vote. You may or may not know, but I have said, and a lot of you I think do know, I'm a numbers cruncher. This is an off-election year as such. 4 years ago, we only had less than 1,500 people to vote. When I got the voter registration printout and counted them, we had, this was a couple months ago, 5,001 registered voters in Carolina Beach. Maybe unfortunate that the Census Bureau said we had less residents than we had less registered voters. That's something to work on too. But anyway, please go vote. I ask you to vote for me. Look at my record of the 6 years from 1997. I was reelected in 99 and again in 2001. What the town accomplished in those 6 years. Vote for the person you think that will do the best job for our town of Carolina Beach. Thank you very much.
And Ms. Evans, closing comments.
Yes. I am committed to doing things that I talked to you about. With a strong working council, we can accomplish much. Working with the council together, we built a constant funding, consistent funding source for inlet dredging and beach renourishment. Update and improve our water system. Implement a plan to eliminate the debt associated with the unfunded pier project. We can find additional costs within our town government so that we will not have to raise property taxes. But I would like to say that the council I have worked with for the last 2 years has been very aggressive. We have been cost saving. We have done a lot. I give Dan the credit for the boardwalk projects. He's done much with the assistance of the council and with the council, the town's money. We've done many improvements. We've fixed the sidewalks for the handicapped. We've done many, we have new sidewalks all the way to the post office. We've done many good things the last 2 years. I commend this council for the work they've done, and other councils I have worked with over the past. I have worked with many council members and 8 mayors, and each of those people have brought a lot to the table to be proud of this town. The things we've done in the past have made this town a good place, a place of quality living, and a place for all of us to be proud of. Thank you for coming, and please elect me the first woman mayor of Carolina Beach. Thank you.
Okay, couple of quick announcements. There'll be a town council forum tomorrow night at the Lazy Pirate at 7 p.m. and a mayoral council, a mayoral forum on Tuesday, October 20th, next Tuesday at 7 at the Lazy Pirate. One-stop voting begins Thursday, October 20th, and it ends on Saturday, November 5th. Election day is Tuesday, the 8th, and I believe the Pleasure Island Chamber of Commerce wants all y'all to vote. So thanks for coming tonight, and thanks to the candidates for being here.
Shake each other's hands. There we go.
Woke up, did you? Pockets of killer, did you?
Turn around, let me see those grill marks.